Hi and welcome to AFTV and welcome to Arsenal, Aaron Ramsdale. £24 million signing, new keeper.
Yeah.
We've been spoiled.
Well, we have. The money's been spent.
No, 129 million this whole window.
The money has been spent this window.
Yeah.
Like, we can't. There's still a lot of other things that the Cronkies need to, address and answer for. And we always said as a fan base, it's not just about spending money. It's about the running of the club, the people you employ, the way it works. But we're not going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the fact that money has been spent and Aaron Ramsdale signed. And they have delivered on that front this summer.
100%. James, does Aaron Ramsdale come in to challenge for that first team spot over Leno, or is he coming in as a number 2 goalkeeper? Because for me, I mean, when you're paying that sort of money, I expect him to challenge for that number 1 spot, and I'm expecting to see him really take over Leno quicker than most people would assume, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Listen, the narrative around it has been Arsenal spending, upwards of up to 30 million, 24 plus add-ons or whatever, on a backup goalkeeper. Yeah. He's not going to be a backup goalkeeper. This season, he might be, what's the word? Kind of fighting it out with Leno. There might be times he comes into the cup. Maybe towards the end of the season, he'll come into the first 11. Maybe if Leno has an injury, Ramsdale will play. But I think the idea is he's still 23 years old. I think Mikel Arteta would like to slowly bring him in. Yeah. At 20, there's a lot of goalkeepers that are 23 years old weren't playing Premier League football or whose names we didn't know. And you can throw Alisson and Ederson into that conversation. So I think ideally a year of settling and whatever, because Leno's still a good goalkeeper. I do think people have become too obsessed with upgrading on burnt Leno. I saw it like I see the striking position, which is if Aubameyang and Leno can rediscover the form they had even just a year ago, brilliant. That'd be great because we know they've got quality. But maybe whether it's injuries or time off or whatever it's been, maybe they're just not quite at that level, at that form yet. So I think Ramsdale will compete, but I think it'll be a year of Leno as number 1 and Ramsdale.
Do you worry about the pressure that Ramsdale's coming in to face? Obviously, there's the whole Martinez saga about when we sold him and Leno took the spot, but people are still reluctant the fact that we let go of Martinez. So do you think he falls under that pressure? And also the Ramsdale, obviously he's been in clubs that have been relegated recently. He has a lot of pressure and a lot of,
Listen, I feel a bit sorry for Aaron Ramsdale because I think a lot of the issues that Arsenal fans have with this signing, it's actually nothing to do with the fact that he will be an Arsenal first team player.
Correct.
So what I mean by that is, if someone just said to you, we're going to go into next season with Leno as our number 1 and Aaron Ramsdale as our number 2, then most people will go, all right, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I agree.
I think it's the money being spent. When we sold Emi Martinez for about 4 million less last summer, and I think he would have counted as homegrown, but I'm not sure on that. But something to ponder there. But also, he was settled at the club. He was ready. He came in and showed he could do it. And really, we should let him and Leno fight out. But we've got to move past the Emi Martinez thing because it gets talked about. I mean, we all know he talks about it in interviews and stuff. And listen, I understand why. But it is getting a little bit like, listen, you left and we loved you. Well, we still love you. Let's just leave it at that. Go do your thing at Villa and whatever. We move on. And I think we do have to move on as a fan base from this Emi Martinez thing. The club might have realised they made a mistake, but in fairness, if you're going to address it by spending a good amount on a goalkeeper you really want. And it seems that Ramsdale is the one they really want. And he gets a lot of... This whole relegations thing that you just touched on there. Yeah. Well, let me ask you, do you hold that against him?
No, you can't put it solely down to one man. You can't put it down to the keeper. Yes, we've got to look at it. We can't just ignore the fact that he's been relegated with many clubs, but I don't put it down to him, and that's his fault. He's a great shot stopper from what I've seen. I think it's a good signing, and when I first heard of it, I'm going to be honest, my guard went up. I was very angry because I was hearing prices like 40 million. No, I know you were. Yeah, I was very against it because I was hearing prices like 40 million and 30 million, which for me is outrageous, especially for considered number 2 goalkeeper. Doesn't seem right, but 24 million is still high in my opinion. But you know what? It's a position that we needed to fill, James. I remember when Leno went down in pre-season, and I panicked and was like, well, who comes on if Leno goes off? It's a position that we need to fill ASAP, and if that's the person that we had to bring in, it's the person we had to bring in. And now that he's an Arsenal player, we've got to make him feel welcome and get behind him.
Well, 100%. And I've been disappointed with the general reaction online from Arsenal fans towards this deal. Opinion is fine. If you don't think he's the one for us, that is completely and utterly okay. And I think Ramsdale, I think Odegaard's got a bit of this, and Ben White's got a bit of this. They've got to accept that. to a degree, Arsenal fans were expecting something really special this summer, and the club, you know, as of the time of recording this video, haven't really delivered that. They've spent a lot of money, as we said, but in terms of that real special overhaul, we've not had that. So I think he's got to fight that kind of narrative a little bit.
Yeah.
But in general, we're talking about a 23-year-old goalkeeper who's probably got another 10 to 15 years in the game. We're talking about a guy who even David Seaman said himself on social media, you know, when he first arrived, he got a lot of stick from Arsenal fans. He said he was, you know, England's third choice goalkeeper, and people weren't talking about him in the way they talk about him now.
Yeah, and look at what career he made of himself. Do you know what I mean?
It is, right. And so, you know, I think that's got to be something that inspires Ramsdale to go prove people wrong. And I do think he'll be settled in slowly. Yeah. I don't think they'll rush him in. But the other big question is, you know, what are we signing him for? Because, you know, this goes on to the discussion about Arteta wanting really specific goalkeepers.
All playing goalkeepers, yeah, good with their feet but
also commanding in the air.
Right.
Like, I think that's it. If I'm to be critical, people will talk about Leno on the ball. Listen, I think Leno's not great, but I also don't think he's terrible on the ball. And we saw Petr Cech. I remember when Petr Cech almost scored a known goal from a goal kick.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually unbelievable. But I think dominating in the air is something Leno's struggled with. Coming out for the ball, not claiming it, getting sort of. I mean, look at the Brentford goal the other day. Oh, yeah. You know, Pontus Jansson literally has him like this,
and it's went all over.
You do one of two things: you shove him to the floor, or the minute it's happened, if you can't do anything, you sprint to the ref, and you tell him to check it.
Or you tell your defending players, get him off me. Yeah,
right.
like
you do something about it.
You command your area.
Commanding his area is something that Leno has struggled with. And I said before that I still think Leno's a very good goalkeeper, shot stopper. Ramsdale's got to be a bit more than that. We know he's got to be good on the ball. And, you know, now what we've been seeing is the compilations going around on Twitter and everything of, you know, Ramsdale's best ever passes and stuff. Yeah. But as far as I'm aware, and I've heard, I think it was Rhian Brewster was saying on Sheffield United's channel or whatever, that, you know, Ramsdale is actually very good with his feet. He used to play central midfield or whatever. So, commanding his area, he's 6'2", should be able to do that, and being good with the ball at his feet. That is something that a modern goalkeeper with a high line in front of him needs to be able to do that. Yeah. So I think that's going to be very interesting.
All right, well, let me just take over your spot and say, let's go into the stats and look at the stats and some numbers here.
You'll do the stats? Oh, come on, there's no point in, you may as well have Turkish here. What's the point of it?
All right, so I looked at some numbers before this, and we've got some here. So Ramsdale, this is his career total, has only conceded 125 goals. And I want to compare that to Leno. Leno's conceded 120 in his career. All of these are going to be compared to Leno.
Is this all comps?
Yeah, all comps. Okay. Oh, actually, no, I think this is just in the league. Apologies. Errors leading to goals.
A mere 120 goals in 3 years of football.
Errors,
good old Arsenal.
Errors leading to goal. Now this is a big stat here. Errors leading to goal. Ramsdale's only done 3, and Leno's done 8. The errors that have led to goal from
Could be a misleading stat because certain things are put down as an error for the goalkeeper that aren't, and then others that maybe the keeper should have done better with sometimes don't. So yeah. But still, okay, that's interesting.
Yep. Own goals. Ramsdale has 0, Leno has 1. I mean, it's only 1. It's a small one. You can tell that James normally does the stats.
Yeah, we're really scraping the bottom line for these stats. Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah. This is an important
shots
one.
On target?
No. Stop it, you. Stop it.
Ramsdale none, Leno none.
But how surprising! Could you have guessed that?
Right.
No, this is a big one though. Yeah. Accurate long balls. Ramsdale totals 484, whereas Leno totals 347. Accurate long balls. Now that says a lot, and Leno's played in a lot more games than Ramsdale, and I think quite a significant amount of numbers ahead of Leno there with 484. I think that's something to look forward to. We want someone good with their feet, good play out from the back. I know Arteta, like you said, mentioned before, he wants that. Something we can utilise.
You just got me thinking there, because actually people are obsessed with the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper's passing ability from a playing out the back perspective.
Short distance.
Can you get it into Partey? Can you get it into Xhaka? Can you get it into Chambers, whoever? But actually, City scored goals, and I always revert back to City when talking about Arteta and what he wants to do coaching-wise, because that's where he did his kind of core development as a coach under Guardiola. That's where he saw that's the most responsibility he had outside of managing Arsenal. Ederson is very good at kind of in the blink of an eye. He's scrambled down to get the ball, he's caught it in the air, and he knows he's there, hit him. And he's just pinpoint accuracy with it.
That's a lot of Man City's play that goes unnoticed, how they actually create goals. I think he's world class and quick as well,
Listen, if another team's attacking your goal, you know that they're leaving themselves exposed. And if you can accurately expose that And that's why I think sometimes we misuse Aubameyang, because we don't get from one end of the pitch to the other quick enough. Maybe Ramsdale will fix that. Ben White is very good on the ball. Maybe he's another player who's coming to fix that too. So I don't want to be seeing errors playing out the back now, because supposedly these players are there to address it, and they've got the talent. And if they don't, why have we spent the money?
Exactly.
So,
and Ramsdale has the option.
My glasses.
Yeah, and Ramsdale has the option to just ping it long and get the attack moving fast. Last little quick stat: assists 1 to Ramsdale, 0 to Leno.
I need number 10.
Listen, I want to end it by saying welcome to Arsenal Football Club, Aaron Ramsdale. We'll welcome you with open arms, and I can't wait to see you this season.